So as most of you probably already know by now, season 3 of the One Punch Man anime was announced last week. And of course, one of the first things I did as soon as I heard this announcement is think about all the amazing fights that are going to be animated in season 3. And if the right animation studio is in place, we're in for some really incredible fight sequences. So what I wanted to do in today's video is give you guys the 3 fights that I'm excited for the most. And by the end of the video, I want you guys to let me know in the comments which one of those 3 is your favorite or the one that you're the most excited about. But just before we get into that, if you guys enjoy One Punch Man and One Punch Man related content like this, then please make sure to subscribe and hit notifications because I post a ton of One Punch Man content every week. And on top of that, I make sure to put out chapter reviews almost immediately after the chapter is released. I pride myself in being probably one of the first YouTubers to get a chapter review out once a chapter is released, so you definitely won't want to miss it. But enough of that, let's get right into the video. So really quick before I get into the first fight that I'm most excited about, I do want to point out that I'm going to preface all of this under the assumption that season 3 is going to end with Saitama versus Orochi, that being chapter 115 of the manga. Now I'll leave a link in the description below for a video I made explaining why I believe season 3 is going to end at this point. And in my opinion, I think it's a pretty convincing argument, so make sure to check that one out after this video. But with that being said, the first fight that I'm very excited to see is Garo versus Orochi. Now, this is a fight that we most certainly are going to see probably within the first couple episodes of season 3, seeing as how it happens so early on in the arc. And the reason I'm so excited to see this fight is just by like the incredible feats of power that we see from Orochi, because before that point, he really hadn't shown what he's capable of. And in his fight with Garo, all of his insane power is put on full display. From the insane like dragon breathing hands that he has, shooting blasts in all directions, and Garo running around the entire arena of the Monster Association, dodging these massive attacks and killing other monsters in the process. If the animation is done right on this one, I have no doubt that it's going to be one of the craziest fights of anime that we've probably ever seen, because this fight has it all. It has, like I said, insane feats of power from Orochi, getting a taste of what he's capable of. It also shows us how much our favorite anti-villain Garo has come along, being able to go toe-to-toe with Orochi for the majority of the fight. And the part I'm kind of most curious to see get animated, or kind of just see how they handle it, is the part where Orochi takes his fighting stance to mimic Garo and performs the water stream rock smashing fist with all of his dragon hands. Now, for those of you that remember this manga chapter, we know that it is an insane panel to see all these like crazy dragon arms doing the water stream rock smashing fist and totally bodying Garo. And just a heads up, this isn't going to be the last time that we see Orochi on this list, but for our next fight, we're going to take a step away from him and talk about Zombie Man versus Pure Blood. Now, I'm super excited to see all of these fights, but I'm specifically just super excited to see Zombie Man versus Pure Blood because it just gives such like an amazing vibe throughout the whole fight. It has this like gothic Resident Evil type feeling to the whole thing, and adds an element to the arc that we don't really see in other parts or other fights. Because to me, Zombie Man's always given this like monster hunter or vampire hunter vibe, and I think this pairing against Pure Blood was absolutely perfect. In the manga, the shading for this fight is so amazing. It just gives this dark, dreary, Transylvania type feel, especially because of where they're fighting. It seems like this like vast, empty church or something like that. And what I think I'm most curious to see about this fight is how the animation studio is going to handle the gore that comes with any Zombie Man fight, because, you know, for those of you that are, you know, well aware of Zombie Man fights, the guy gets completely demolished and torn apart. So I'm kind of curious to see if they're going to be pulling back some of that gore, or if they're not going to hold back any punches and just let us enjoy what I think makes Zombie Man one of the most interesting characters to follow. Because versus other heroes, Zombie Man's one of those types of characters that really shines in terms of endurance and just being able to really take a hit and wearing out his opponent, versus most of other heroes that kind of win their fights through just sheer strength or getting these incredible power buffs mid-fight, things like that, that are more common and shown in manga. But with Zombie Man, it always seems to be a battle of sheer willpower and who can eat the most damage. And of course, with Zombie Man's ability, it usually ends up being him. I also kind of really liked Pure Blood as a villain. I thought his whole like monster elitist vibe was kind of interesting, with him believing that he's from a line of true monsters, unlike the other monsters of the Monster Association that are just some kind of abominations to him. So it's going to be really interesting to see the dialogue between these two as they fight as well. But for this last fight, I told you guys that we were going to circle back to Orochi, and we're doing it in a big way here, because between this fight and the fight with Zombie Man, this one's probably my most anticipated one, and I'm sure it is for most of you guys too, and it's the fight between Orochi and Saitama. Now this fight has everything we see between Garo and Orochi, but cranked up to 10, because we see Saitama really push Orochi to the limit and show us every bit of power that he has to offer. Now this is a fight where I'm really hoping the sound effects and the official soundtrack of the anime is really on point, because I think that those things, combined with the incredible animation that's potentially coming with this fight, can probably make it one of the best anime fights of the decade. And I'm not exaggerating this. For those of you that have read the manga, you know that this fight really does have it all. From Orochi literally looking like he's the devil himself, fighting Saitama throughout the entire Monster Association, leading to that underground fight in that lava lake, where we see Orochi change forms and use the energy of the planet Earth itself from its core to shoot this like enormous energy blast at Saitama. And this probably being the last major fight of the season, I have no doubt that they won't be holding back any punches on this one. And who knows, maybe they'll add some additional sequences that prolongs the fight and adds another element to it that we haven't seen before in the manga. I'm even just super excited to see how Orochi himself looks animated, especially in his scorpion looking form. And I'm curious to see how much of the detail from Murata's drawings will be translated into the anime. And of course, any fight with Saitama has to have some kind of element of comedy to it, so I definitely want to see how they handle the serious squirt gun that inevitably kills Orochi. And what's really going to be exciting about this fight is that at the very end of it, for those of you that have read the manga from beginning to end, we know that as Orochi is being defeated, this is where we first see the altar that shows the painting of God on it. And I think it'll be the first big indication of God as the final big bad of the series in the anime in general, because to this point I don't think that we would be seeing any type of God specific stuff until that actual fight. So that'll be able to set it up for season 4, where we see Garo take center stage as the main big bad and put more of a spotlight on God and his influence on monsters and the world in general. But what do you guys think? Which of these 3 fights are you most excited to see in season 3? Or are you guys excited to see a different fight that I didn't list out in this video? Let me know in the comments below. I'm very curious to know which fight you guys are most excited about. And let me just say that this is such an exciting topic to talk about. I did not think a few weeks ago that we would be discussing season 3 fights as an eventuality, not something that, you know, we might see happen someday or some year. No, this is going to happen. It's just a matter of what studio is going to animate this manga, and just simply waiting a year, possibly 2, for this to finally come to fruition. But if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like, and again, please subscribe and turn notifications on. And if I'm not asking for too much, if you want to support the channel even more, then click the link in the description below and support me on my Patreon in whatever way you can. I would very much appreciate it, and it'll allow me to up the quality on these videos and bring them to you more often. So until next one, guys, I'll see you later.